So this video, we're going to be talking about the 10 things I wish I knew before I started nursing school. And make sure you stay tuned until the end to find my #1 nursing school tip that I wish I knew, and it's not something you would expect. So #1, habits create success. One of the things I learned is being really regimented and having a plan for each day allowed me to get a lot done when it comes to reading and schoolwork and practice exams and things like that. If you don't have a regimented plan, things build up pretty quickly. I mean, just the reading alone is a lot. So yes, small little habits every single day lead up to big successes. #2, bye-bye social life. So one thing about nursing school is you just don't have time for things anymore. You don't have time to go out with friends. You don't have time to sit down and binge watch your favorite show every night. You are exhausted. You have so much to do with not enough time, and you just can't do what your friends are doing. And that's one of the sacrifices you make. However, going back to #1, if you can have a regimented plan for each day, you can find time to kind of factor those social things in, or those things you're giving up. So whether it's a hobby or a sport or just time with friends, you can kind of put that into your plan for the week, as long as you can stay on top of tasks every day. #3, there are so many resources to help you study, and I know that can be really overwhelming. I actually have another video on best resources for nursing students, and I'll link that up above. But there are so many resources available that sometimes it can be overwhelming about what helps the most. However, if you can identify what works the best for you, so things like UWorld is amazing, or Picmonic, there's so many great resources to help nursing students. So figure out what your learning style is and then identify resources that will help you to learn all the different concepts. #4, let perfectionism go. So if you're like me, and to be honest, I think 99% of nursing students are perfectionists. You like to score high, do well, understand everything, be a great student, and that's all wonderful. But in nursing school, when you're taking the exam and there's 3 right answers, and you need to pick which one is the best, you may not always be able to reflect in your grades the knowledge that you know. So if you beat yourself up, and trust me, I did it, I scored 86s and went home crying, like that's the perfectionism, right? You gotta let it go. So what worked for me is I would allow myself, this sounds so ridiculous, I would allow myself a certain amount of time to be sad. So if I did not score what I wanted to on an exam and I was upset, I might give myself an hour to cry, vent it out, be like, what the heck, I spent so much time studying and my grade doesn't reflect that, and just be like bummed out. And then I'd be like, okay, I'm letting it go. There's nothing I can do. I'm going to move forward. I'm going to do something that I enjoy. I would always leave time after an exam to be sad and then do something I enjoy, whether it's going out to eat or having time with family or friends, because you got to let it go. You cannot sit there and beat yourself up for days, because it will just trickle into the next exam that you have and the next things that you have to do. So #4 was letting perfectionism go, and #5 is it's okay to be sad. #6, what I wish someone told me is that your test results do not reflect your intelligence. When you're taking an exam with 3 right answers for a question, it's very difficult because you might be doing all of those things, right? But it just wants to know, what the best answer is. So, I mean, it took me like 3 exams to realize that the first thing you do when a patient can't breathe is sit them up. Like, I was always like, apply O2, high flow oxygen. Like, I was always thinking like super far ahead, but that's not what the question was at. So everything, it's just so tricky. So your exam scores do not reflect your intelligence. Some people may just do well in the exams. Like, they might just be good at it. They might be able to retain all the information from the lectures, but that doesn't mean that they're going to be like a better nurse, or that they're smarter than you, or you're not smart enough. Like, why don't you understand it? It's just these tests, every question is like a riddle, and it just really doesn't reflect your intelligence or the quality of a student that you are. #7 of what I wish somebody told me before nursing school is that you can convert your PowerPoints to outlines pretty quickly. And I wish I knew this, because at one point I was typing outlines from the PowerPoints or like rewriting them out. And it just would have been way easier to like click a button, reformat it a little bit, and print it. So if you guys want to know how to do that, I have another video on that. I will link that up above so you can check that out. But it just makes your life so much easier, because I would hate having like 100-slide printout. I'd rather just have like a 4-page outline. It's just much easier to condense all the information into. So I wish somebody told me that. I didn't realize that till after nursing school. So number 8. No one cares about your grades. Going back to grades, no one cares. C's get degrees, and my teachers would say that to me all through nursing school, and I would just be like, I don't care. I don't want a C. I want to get an A. I want to do amazing. I want to show that I understand the information. All that's great, but I will say I killed myself a little bit in nursing school. My perfectionism was just on like high alert, and I'm still like that. Like, I want my 4.0 in grad school. You know, it's just how I am as a person. But, you know, if my advice to you, it is tough to take my own advice, right? It's tough for me to be like, C's get degrees, because that's not how I am as a person. I'm a perfectionist, and if I'm spending the money and putting in the time, I want to be able to be like, I got the 4.0, I know the information. You know, it's a reflection on you as a student. That's how I feel. So I can understand if you guys feel that way too. However, though, if I could let that go and just be like, C's get degrees, I probably would have had a little bit more pleasant experience in nursing school, but it's okay. But that's what I want to tell you guys. So, you know, if you're killing yourself to get that A, sometimes it's okay to get a B. You know, it's just, you know, that's my advice, but who knows? So number 9, what I wish I knew before nursing school. Being a paperless student was probably the best thing I did in nursing school. Went from having that huge binder like this big, all the notes, and it's a lot of information, plus you have your books, you're carrying the huge backpack. It's just a lot, and you can take all of those things, all your slides, that big binder, all your books, and get them right on your iPad. A lot of the nursing school books, I don't know if all of them, but a lot of them do come in PDF or ebook form, so you can put them right on your iPad. The thing that is amazing about this is that you can then search them on your iPad. So if you want to know about, you know, some condition, you know, you don't have to go to like the back of the book, try to look it up, try to find the page. You just type it in the little search box and it pulls up every page that talks about that. So that's kind of nice. Also, you can create like a split screen, so you can have your book on one side of the screen and then you can have your notes on the other. There's certain softwares like GoodNotes or Notability where you can write notes. You can import the slides from class into Notability or GoodNotes, and you can take notes right on there like if it was a piece of paper. If you like the feeling of paper and a pencil, they offer covers for the iPad that make it feel like paper. And the other thing that's great is you can search through your notes. So say you take notes in a class and you want to look up a certain condition, you don't have to flip through this huge pack of notes. You can just go up to the search, you can look it up, and it can actually find your handwriting when you write that. So it's not just the typed notes, it's also the handwritten notes. Something else that I personally used Notability. I like it better than GoodNotes for the simple fact, there's a couple of different reasons, but one of the main ones is you can record your lectures in class in the Notability app as you're writing the notes. Then if you're going back through, looking through your written notes and you see something you're like, oh, I don't remember what the teacher said, I forgot to write it down, or I don't really understand this, and I want to re-listen to what the teacher said, instead of going back through and re-listening to the entire audio or having to find where the teacher talks about that, you can double tap where you wrote, and it will pull you to that section in the audio where you wrote that. So that's really, really amazing. Something else, you can listen to the audio sped up or slowed down. I found this extremely helpful with some professors who talk a little slower. I talk very fast. I like to listen to things very fast, and I like talking to people who talk very fast. So I would always listen to my lectures on 1.5 speed so I could go through, you know, an hour lecture in 40 minutes. And although it doesn't sound like that much time saved, when you're talking about 5 hours of lecture material that for whatever reason you want to re-listen to, when you're listening to it at 1.5 speed, or sometimes even double speed, depending on how slow the teacher talks, that saves you like 2 hours. So, you know, it does in the end save you time. So I love Notability, so that was great. You can also take pictures from the internet or from the book or wherever, and you can pull them into your notes in Notability. You can pull the pictures in, or you can like take a screenshot and pull that in. It's just really, really great. But the best part of the whole thing is the only thing you need to carry in your backpack is your little iPad, which is amazing because the first year of nursing school, I nearly broke my back. Those books are so heavy. So yes, being a paperless student is amazing. And I will have another video on being a paperless student, so you can check that out here when it goes live. So my last and final tip is number 10, which is something that maybe you wouldn't expect, but I learned this in nursing school, and I feel like it was one of the most important things that I learned, and that is that lateral violence is not okay, and it does occur, and it occurs not only in nursing school, but also when you're a nurse, and I'll have another video about that, and I'll link it up above. So lateral violence in nursing school does occur. Typically, when I would see this is not only among other students, but among clinical instructors, among, you know, nurses on the floor during clinical with students. Nursing has lateral violence. We know this. It is a thing. It's been researched for a while. So personally, for me, I experienced this in the clinical setting, nearly worried myself sick. Like because I just, you know, you're a student, you have somebody who is senior to you, and this is going to happen when you're a nurse too, a new nurse. You have somebody who's senior to you, and they're treating you with disrespect. And I don't know how much we want to get into this, but I literally tell me I look stupid and to do unsafe things. It was horrible. And it took me a while to say something because I was so caught off guard and like, oh my God, this behavior is totally inappropriate. Like, I just want to learn. When I'm talking about lateral violence, I don't mean, because sometimes I think in nursing, you can have that like tough love a little bit, right? Like they want you to learn. They want you to know what you're doing. They may give you a little bit of tone like, no, that's not what you do. This is what you do. And that's all okay because they want you to learn, and different instructors have different learning styles or teaching styles, right? You know, some people are that more assertive, authoritarian type teaching, and others are more that like laissez-faire type. So, you know, it's about the teaching style. So it's not bad. It's lateral violence in the sense of blatant disrespect, putting people into dangerous situations, or just, you know, not creating that positive learning environment. So it took me a while to say something, but when I did say something, I learned that I was right, and that this behavior was not okay, and I had other students thank me for coming forward. Me coming forward led to other people coming forward. Lateral violence in nursing is not okay. Lateral violence in nursing originated from back in the day, from what I've read. Doctors used to be very, at times, rude to nurses. So nurses would then, you know, that lateral violence would come from doctors to nurses, and then nurses would do it to other nurses because it's just that trickle effect, right? And it's that, but I think from then we've grown so much that lateral violence does not occur as often as it used to. So yes, I think if you experience lateral violence, it's okay to stand up for yourself in a, you know, assertive way. You don't want to be aggressive, but you want to be assertive. But just because someone is senior to you does not mean that you have to take that lateral violence or keep it in or get through or anything like that. Your voice does matter at all levels. Those are the top 10 things I wish I knew for nursing school. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below when I come out with new content every week. you.